Hey everybody, sorry for the delay here. We had a couple of technical difficulties. This is Daniel. Thank you for joining us this evening. Ori's on with us now, and Becky will be joining us soon. Ori, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I know we're getting started a little late, guys, and I apologize for that. Like Daniel said, I don't know if I'd call it some technical difficulties as it was we were hard at work and didn't realize what time it was and came on a little late, but that's kind of what happens when we have a deadline of February 1st and we have some of the best programming available coming shortly. So I apologize about that. I don't want to leave anyone out, so we're possibly considering rescheduling this for tomorrow, but we'll kind of leave that up to you guys. If you guys know anyone that was on that dropped off because we came on a little bit late, could you send a chat to us so we can evaluate if we're missing some people or if we have everyone that's going to be here, and we'll just go ahead and start. So we'll kind of hold off for a second while we're waiting for the chats to come through before we start the presentation. But can you go ahead and just send that over and let us know if we should hold off or go ahead and do this tonight?
And Becky has joined us. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, it was Booger tonight. They didn't want to load.
Lots of things going on.
So what's the plan?
We're live.
We're live, and we've put it out to the group for chats to suggest whether or not we should proceed or reschedule.
Okay.
And so
now, I do know that we have a little bit of a delay, guys, so if you send a chat, it might take a second for us to see it. So we'll just kind of sit tight for a few minutes and see if we get any chats. But like I said, if you guys have anyone that you know that may have been on that jumped off, we don't want to exclude anyone. So just let us know, and we will make a decision here in the next couple minutes. So we'll just sit tight for maybe a minute or so, and we'll go from there.
Oh, we're getting some coming in.
Looks like the majority say, let's do it. Proceed, please, proceed. So why don't we go ahead and proceed. Anyone that may have jumped off, just let them know that we'll have a link that's live to the session that they can watch it later on. So we'll go ahead and get started with this, and we'll make that link available immediately after this presentation. So Becky, I believe you have the majority of the questions. I'm going to go ahead and let you kind of take center stage here. If you guys have questions as we go through this, please let us know and we'll respond to those as we go through it. So we'll just kind of take the questions in the order they came in on our questions at byoungth.com. So 2 ways that you can send questions in tonight. You can email that questions at byoungth.com and we'll keep checking it throughout this presentation. Or you can send a chat to us. Just depending on the length of the question, it might be easier to just send an email. So, Becky, why don't you go ahead and take the floor?
Well, I'm going to let you address the first one.
Okay.
and then most of the rest have to do with the comp plan. Actually, there's a few in there mixed in. So, where is Dr. Whiting? Are we continuing to promote the weight management program and the SMART products?
Where is Dr. Whiting? It's kind of like, where's Waldo, right? Dr. Whiting is in California, San Diego to be exact. But to answer your question, yes, Dr. Whiting is a part of this. He's not necessarily, some people have been really close to Dr. Whiting are probably wondering, well, what's going on because we haven't seen Dr. Whiting. And the reason for that is because we haven't really gone forward with any other product launches. You guys have probably can attest to that, maybe not, because we did launch with our Defend, but it was kind of a refinement of our already made liver cleanse into a single serving packet with a couple other ingredients that enhanced it. But one of the main reasons is we made an internal decision to hold off on product launches for a little while because we have we have a lot of products, guys, and Becky can attest to that. With Becky coming from a big background of network marketing, she came into our place and saw our SKUs and about passed out, and Daniel did about the same thing. So we have a lot of SKUs. The problem is there was never really a message behind why we had it. Dane would go out and share, till his face went blue about essential oils, and you'd have to almost have a PhD to know how to use it. But we hadn't really refined the message. So, the last, basically the last 2 years was that process. And so this last year, we've really focused in on total health. And that's kind of where we feel the entire direction of the company is going, is to a total health approach, a total body strategy instead of spot fixes, if you will. So to make a short question long, I guess, is what I'm doing. Dr. Whiting is a very important part of the company. He is still with us. He's still working on the lifestyle evaluation. For those who have heard about it, great. Those who haven't, it's basically a test or a quiz, or if you will, that you go through, and it can identify, where you might be lacking in certain minerals or vitamins or antioxidants and those things. But he just hasn't really taken a forefront center approach yet, because Dr. Whiting is about like a caveman clinging two rocks together when it comes to the computer. And most of the things we've been doing the last 6 months have been technology-wise. So he's kind of just sat back and gotten comfortable and waited for us to tell him to ramp up and to start doing what he does best. So for the time being, he's here. He's sitting tight. He's a part of the company. He's part of our scientific board. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be here with us for a long time. So short story long, that's the scenario with Dr. Whiting.
Oh, very good. I'm going to throw a couple more at you. Not that I couldn't answer them, but they're good for you. They're not specifically comp plan. So will the point per dollar on oils remain, or will they go back to the old PV?
Yeah, guys, this is a good time to maybe address this, which I'm glad you're asking. So about, I don't know, I think a year ago, maybe a year and a half, we announced going to point per dollar, and we had done that because, and I'm just going to be very transparent with you guys, we had done that because our old compensation plan had breakage in it. It had enough that we had enough margins that we could go ahead and give you an incentive to do a point per dollar purchase to try to help you incentivize other people to get involved and get going. The main problem, our old compensation plan by no means was a ripoff. I don't want you guys stating that it was, and we were just making millions of dollars, because if that was the case, I think all of us would know that we wouldn't have had some of the problems that we did have, some growing pains. But the problem with our old compensation plan is, it's like any compensation plan, is if you don't follow the plan to the T and do everything, then you lose the that commission. And unfortunately, more people had that issue than others, because a lot of people aren't network marketers. So we had some some issues with that, and that's the reason why Becky came on board, so she could fix it and make it the best compensation plan in the market, which it is. So once again, short story long, no, we will not be offering point per dollar, because the benefits that you got with point per dollar are going to be substantially higher in the compensation plan. You're going to be able to get much more back through the compensation plan than you would ever have gotten through our auto ship rewards points, through the point per dollar, during those things, because literally the money comes right back into your pocket. You don't have to do a whole lot to get it. So I know one of the other questions is probably going to be our auto ship rewards program. That is going to go away as well. And the main reason is we pay out 40%, period. There's literally no breakage, and if there is breakage, it's so minimal that it's basically not there. And because of that, we had to do away with some of these incentives that a lot of other companies do, including us previously, to try to encourage people to keep buying on a monthly basis. But the new comp plan is very powerful, puts money back into your pockets. We don't need to give those types of incentives, because you'll see them within your first month of signing up, the rewards coming back into your pocket instead of just rolling in the company in a reward point.
I might expound on that real briefly. There's also, we have a margin with everything we have, and we're literally taking our margin to the very limit of what's available to you and offering those in the way of commissions, which will, as Ori said, give you greater rewards all the way around, but there's no wiggle room. We have set the threshold very high. You will see it in your commission checks, and so we can't throw that into product as well. So along with that, Ori, let's go ahead and address the question is what we've already said about the auto ship, but the rewards points that are there, I can address that, or you can go ahead and follow through.
Yeah, I'm going to go into, there's one more thing I wanted to add, not necessarily to that, but one other piece I think is important that we address here, and obviously we'll send out an email informing everyone. So one, people who have reward points, they're not going to go away. You'll still be able to use them when we roll over to the new platform. You just won't be awarded any future reward points. So if you have like 1,800 points, stocked up for your I Want It All kit, don't worry, you're not going to lose it. You'll have it. You just won't be awarded anymore starting February 1. So there's that little piece. Here, the other piece I want to share with you guys is this was a discussion that was kind of hard to make, but we felt it was an important one to make, and that's going to be our volume. We on some of our products, we literally do not have much of a profit margin. What we do have is very small because, I'll give you some examples. Each time we want to bring in Massagee so that we can do a run of Massagee, it costs us 50 grand in the raw goods that we bring in from just one. By the way, that's not everything. That's just one aspect of Massagee that we bring in. So Massagee is one of our best products, but the margins aren't very high because it's a very expensive product for us to produce, and we won't compromise because we get the results we want because we have really good products in it. But what we decided was to do a flat rate across the board on the volume. And one of the reasons for this is we wanted to eliminate, if you will, the headhunting approach to the company of I'm going to buy a product I really don't need because I have a better point value over here than if I were to buy Massagee. For instance, Massagee is like $70 and 40 PV. That's not even, it's not very great on the volume wise. So what we decided is we brought everything in, averaged it out. Some of the products we won't make very much on. Some of the products we'll have a better margin on. But we're going to do everything on a flat rate across the board. So the flat rate is going to be 65% of the wholesale will be the volume amount. So if the wholesale is $100, then the volume will be 65. And it's going to be that way on every product. So if you want to get 200 PV, it doesn't matter if you purchased a shampoo, a conditioner, a Nutri-Smart, or Massagee. It doesn't matter. If the dollar amount equals X, and you take that and times it by 65%, it's going to equal the 200 PV. So it doesn't matter what you purchase anymore. It's going to all be going to be flat rate across the board. So you can purchase whatever you want and get the PV that you need.
That same process will occur also with a wholesale retail markup. That's a straight across the board amount, so it will be consistent all the way through. Hey, Ori, one more for you.
Okay.
We used to be able to order makeup in the auto ships before the auto ship program. Will that return now that the program is going away?
Okay, so that's a good question. Our makeup line is, for the time being, discontinued. It's not going away, but it's not in a place that we can support it. Out of all our products, that's the hardest one to support because you're dealing with, skin tones and colors, and people are as picky about their makeup as they're about, their husband, who they're going to marry. And we don't have any support for that. So we made the decision a while ago to basically kind of phase that out until we're ready to bring it on full scale. And so when we launch, we will launch without a makeup line. You're not going to see any makeup line information. You're not going to see any products. It's not even going to be in the shopping cart. You won't see it. It won't be there. Hopefully, the goal is, and I'm not going to, don't quote me. We've had conversations of revising the makeup line so that we can have that available come 2016. But it will be a little ways down the road because we have so much that we're pushing through right now. We have so many powerful assets that are going to become available. We have a lot that we need to do with our total health line still. So obviously makeup will be part of that total health push, but we're just not quite there yet. So it'll be a little bit down the road before that becomes available.
Okay, can I expound on that one a little bit? Not necessarily with makeup, but you will be able to customize your own auto ship order. If you don't want pre-configured package, you will be able to configure your own package as long as it meets the PV requirements for whatever level of qualification you're trying to meet. And so it will not matter what we carry as long as your PV meets or exceeds the required volume, which obviously is 40 for unilevel only, 140 for unilevel, and the sharing matrix. And then if you want to take full advantage of the quick start bonus, it's up to 340. Or if there's additional positions in the sharing matrix, it's an additional 100 PV above 140 PV for every position in the matrix. So there's a variety there, and thus a need for you to be able to totally customize your auto ship order.
So we have a question from Claire just saying, she said, so to get 140 PV, it'll be over $200, and the answer is correct. To get 140 PV, it'll cost $215, and that's just period. If 140 PV is going to cost $215 no matter what, because everything's flat rate. So that's the numbers, so you guys have it.
Okay. So we're going to move on to Daniel for a minute. With the Y-Wallet, will I be able to directly transfer money into my checking account?
We are putting in place multiple payout options, ACH, debit card loads, and checking account withdrawals in the U.S.
Okay. You want to expound a little more, letting them know they can also use that to directly order product, share with other people. The Y-Wallet's going to be absolutely amazing.
Sure. I thought, so there's other components to it. One of the components to the Y-Wallet is a loan, where you're able to specify an interest or non-interest bearing loan to one of your downlines, or and at the same time be able to specify an override that you can send them an offer for the loan, they can accept the offer. If it has an override of 10%, for example, 10 cents of every dollar that gets paid into their wallet gets deferred to you as repayment for the loan. And there's also straight transfers. So no loan attached, you're just transferring money to another person. And then, yes, as Becky mentioned, you can use that to pay your auto ship. Something that's kind of new and exciting is you'll be able to use that to pay for your BYBB subscriptions if you're a BYBB subscriber for the sharing system. Does that cover it, Becky? Did I get it?
I believe so. We'll also be putting their rewards dollars in there, and that'll be a separate category. And so we'll announce that when the time comes, because that will be something that you can purchase product with, but because commissions have already been paid on that, there will be no volume attached to that, and so that's something that will be coming in the near future as well. All right, Daniel, now that we have your attention, let's go on and talk about BYBB for a second. It says, I'm counting on BYBB sharing marketing plan to help me not lose my position in the sharing matrix once launched. It will be helpful to have some lead time. Can you indicate yet if that will be the case, or is this to be a simultaneous on switch? Of course, we've addressed that before, but let's expound in case people have missed it.
Sure. So I'm actually been working pretty feverishly today so that we can turn BYBB back on as soon as tomorrow. And we're going to go ahead and start initiating new subscriptions. And about 3 days before the 1st, we will prime our primary source vendor to start loading in the prospects right shortly after the 1st, so that we can drive them to the new website and show them the Sharing Center and some of the other really powerful stuff that has been put together for Be Young.
Very good. One more BYBB. It says, I currently have 2 accounts with BYBB, one with myself and one with my husband. It's my understanding that a household can only be registered with 1 account, and that goes for Be Young Total Health. We'll expound on that in a minute. But they're wanting to know if they can combine their BYBB account and share the funds that they've already put in.
Yes, no problem. And we'll be addressing that as we reach out to everybody individually from tomorrow on.
Very good. Okay, Daniel, you're behind us. Now let's move into comp plan and compliance type information. Since we're on the part where we need to combine, our policies and procedures state that there can only be 1 sharing partner per household, physical address, email address, so forth. And as we've been going through the database, there are multiple positions that have the same email address. Several have same physical address. And of course, there's husband, wife, sometimes even younger children. On occasion, there's a corporation and a husband and wife. And due to the guidelines and due to the structure of this compensation plan, multiple positions will only dilute your efforts and actually be a hindrance to your success and progress. And so we're going to absolutely insist that there only be 1 position per household. And, you know, we can look at a few circumstances if they're extenuating. There can be minor exceptions, but by and large, if you hold multiple positions in the current system, please contact us at compliance@beyoungth.com and let us know what those positions are. And then our customer service staff will be reaching out to you prior to our launch. We need to clean this up and get that straightened around so we know what your requests and wishes are. So again, only 1 position. Next question. What will my commissions be like with 40 PV? That's about as difficult to answer as there is. There are many factors. If you've only sponsored 1 or 2 people, you will simply get frontline 15% off of their volume. If it's a first time enrollment first month and you're qualified for quick start bonus, you'll receive that. If you're retailing product, you will receive commissions there, but you will not be eligible for commissions in the sharing matrix if you're only doing 40 PV a month. In order to participate in the sharing matrix, you have to have a minimum of 140 PV. 100 of that goes into the sharing matrix and 40 goes into the unilevel. If you have 200 PV, 100 goes to the unilevel and 100 goes to the matrix. And so there's a whole variety of scenarios that can occur there. And so it literally falls back on your level of activity, the number of people you've sponsored, the number of people they have sponsored, so forth and so on, as to what occurs every month. You will be earning commissions through the unilevel, and there's a full 40% payout. But if you only have 1 or 2 people in your structure, then those commissions obviously will be meager. However, if you have a large organization, they'll be significant. So with that, I don't know if there's anything else beyond that. Ori, I'm going to let you be watching for a minute and see if there's anything that we need to expound on for that.
I just turned on my screen, Becky, so we have a point of reference. And
I
thought we could also, I have that compensation comparison that would probably be good to go over because I know there's some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and use my screen because I have the resources here unless you want to turn it. I'm just going to use my screen. I'll
Sure.
change it where it needs to go.
No, I have them as well, but go for it, Ori. You're already up and going. You might want to expand to full screen, though. It's very...
So, Becky, let me just expound a little bit on that unilevel, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And I think one of the reasons why it's so hard to give you a good answer on that is, like Becky said, there's so many different scenarios. If someone has less than 140 PV, 139, then 139 is going to go into the unilevel. But if they have 140, then only 40 goes into the unilevel. So it's pretty difficult to know where it's going to be. But if you want to try to calculate it for yourself, just based off of the minimum requirements, then just take 40 PV, and you know, one way that you might be able to do it, and you could do this on our new website when it launches with that powerful compensation tool that we talked about in our last webinar. But one thing you could do is just take 40 PV and just start with 3 people. So say 3 people sponsor 3, so they're following the power of 3. So you can have 3 on your first level, 9 on your second level, 27 on your third, 81 on your fourth, and 243 on your fifth. And just take 40 PV, times it by how many people's in that level, and then times it by the commission percentage. You can see it right here, 15, 10, 5, 5, 5. And you're going to know exactly what you're going to make. And that would be in the minimum level, 40 PV only, 3 people only, and 3 people sponsoring 3 on each level. So you could figure that out fairly easy by yourself. And that's really the unique thing about this compensation plan. You don't have to be a mathematician to put the numbers together.
I'm going to argue that point after what I've been doing the last 2 days, Ori.
Well, yeah, there's a reason why yours has been a little more difficult.
No. Okay, let's move on. This is it's called a new structures questions. Wanting clarification on the time windows, 30-day period versus calendar month, to be in place when someone new enrolls. And so there's a scenario here, but I'm just going to answer that. Everything is on the calendar month. Everything we do is from the 1st of whatever month it is, so 1st of January to the 31st of January, the 1st of February to the 28th of February, unless it's leap year, and then it's the 29th, so forth and so on. So if someone comes in on the 5th of the month, they still have till the 31st to become active or qualified depending on the circumstances. And so it's not a 30-day from the 5th to the 5th of the following month. Because our commissions are paid by the calendar month, everything occurs within that month. So if someone enrolls on the 31st, they need to place that first order on that day in order for it to count towards your quick start bonus, or for them to be active that first month and be able to stay in the position in the sharing matrix that they're inserted in, for example. So hopefully that answers that question. It's very straightforward. Calendar month, not a 30-day time period. Next question, sharing matrix scenario. The sharing partner is in the matrix qualified with points and has 3 sharing partners also qualified with points, but those sharing partners don't necessarily have 3 that are qualified. Does the original sharing partner earn and stay in, or do those 3 sharing partners have to have their 3 that have 3, etc., etc.? So at what point does the original sharing partner earn and stay in? It's almost like dominoes, and part of the reason for this is so that every single position in the matrix has contributed an equal amount. Otherwise, there would be holes and gaps just like any other matrix structure, and that's why there's a time frame. Month 1, again, we're dealing with calendar months. You place a 140 PV order and you're inserted into the sharing matrix the day you enroll. If by the end of the month you haven't placed a 140 PV order, you lose that position. That process follows through all through your organization. Month 2, you sponsor 3 who place a 140 PV order. Now you're fully qualified. If that does not occur, then you're compressed out and that position goes away. You never go back into that same position. If the following month 2 of your 3 were active that month, your third one becomes active, and they sponsor 3, then you go back in the next open position, and it might be 4 or 5 levels lower than where you started, but it starts building from there. And so the process is always 3 active, qualified, with a window of time in which to initially achieve that. If one of your people becomes inactive or unqualified for some reason, you will have the entire next month. So by the end of January, for example, you find out one of your persons that you personally sponsored did not place a large enough order. You're not going to be compressed out for that. You have until the following month to either get them active and qualified or to find someone else who is. And so the process continues so that the matrix stays stable and perfect, and everyone gets a fair payout. And so there's always a 30-day window if something goes awry with your organization, and that goes down as many levels deep as it occurs. If your 4th level person has one dropout, they have that same time frame, but as long as you have 3 active qualified, you remain there. So it's always a good idea to possibly have a 4th so that you have a little bit of an insurance policy, but you're going to want to be watching your organization to know what it looks like. And there will also be autoresponder emails going out, and you'll also be able to see everything in real time in your sharing center. We don't want anybody to not know what's going on and by default be compressed out, but you will have every opportunity to be apprised of what is occurring in your organization.
Becky, I'm going to show a couple slides here just to kind of visually show what you're talking about, if you're okay with that.
Okay, sure.
So the first thing, I just want to pull this open again for you guys real quick, because this is a pretty powerful piece. And you know, Becky was talking about to make sure it's perfect. When your first level is full, you know, $15, $45, $30, $135, $8, $10, and $365. And if we didn't require that the compensation plan work the way it did, then we'd be in the exact same scenario that Young's with right now in its existing matrix. We have people in our matrix who signed up in 2009, ordered in 2009, and hasn't done anything, and they still hold the same position in the matrix month in and month out. So what ends up happening is you get gaps, like Becky's talking about. You get areas where you're not utilizing that space. So just to kind of show this once again, how the matrix fills, you can see how it fills very evenly and very fairly. Now, if someone's not active, then what would happen is one of those people would drop out, and if we didn't require that person to do something, then what would end up happening is it would start creating huge gaps in this perfect matrix. So let me kind of get to the point where it shows inactivity real quick. So for instance, that person drops out. If we didn't allow this compression to happen, right, so it fills it back in, but this person that had that compressed in that 1 month so he didn't lose any commissions doesn't now replace the person that dropped off, then someone else down the line is going to suffer because they didn't contribute 3 perfectly like everyone else. So the idea of this is that it's perfect and it's fair. Everyone has to contribute 3, and they have to ensure that their 3 are doing the minimum. If not, then the community doesn't work effectively, and you end up losing that earning potential that you have with the power of the community, and you're just going back to working all by yourself again. So just so you guys can kind of visually see why it's so important that those rules are in place, not only to encourage growth, but to also encourage, a monthly activity so that you can know how much you're making each month
Ori,
to the bank.
Ori, I hate to interrupt you, but your screen hasn't changed.
Well, that's not good.
No, it's not.
What's it showing right now?
We're still on the unilevel, the original screen that you showed.
Well, I've been flipping all through this for nothing. Let me try to reinitiate my screen share here.
Okay. While you're doing that, we also have someone saying getting double feedback on your voice.
Are you getting that at all?
I am not. Oh,
Okay,
there's a good one.
Can you see this now?
Yes. It's good. Yes.
Can you see the animation?
Let
me switch the screens because let's see here.
You don't have animation on.
Can you see that?
No.
Not doing anything, huh?
You need to switch your presentation screen, Ori.
Right, it's up in the top left-hand corner, Ori.
Okay, hang on a second. Well, that's what I did. Let me just switch it here.
So click up to slideshow, up in the top, almost in the middle.
Up here in display settings. But which screen are you guys seeing? Are you seeing one that says like display settings? Or
we're seeing the sharing matrix compression.
Just that image?
We're seeing the PowerPoint, not the slide.
Right.
We see the whole deck.
Yes. With the sidebar.
Yeah, it's because I have it full screen.
Yeah, but go up to your slide.
I'm really confused. Let me unplug my second screen. Maybe that will help.
Oh, you're sharing your second screen and we're not seeing it. I got it.
Because I wasn't for sure which screen it was showing on. So let me do this one more time. Let's see here. Entire screen. Okay, can you see this now?
I can see your mouse moving.
How about the PowerPoint now? Is it?
Oh, very good.
Okay. All right, so everything I just said, I'm not going to reiterate it, but you can see how if a position falls out, what's going to happen that month. So let's say this is January's commissions. You have your 3, but for whatever reason one doesn't do their job, it drops out. The compensation plan is going to fill that position for you to make sure that you earn fully. However, if you don't do something the following month, you left a gap in the community. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you're not the person not contributing perfectly. So that's the reason why you have that 30 days to replace it. It's not fair that everyone else has to contribute 3 and you only have 2. So you need to make sure that you're pulling your weight, if you will, so that the entire community can support you. So you can kind of see how this all fills in. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. We're not trying to create welfare, we're trying to create independent people. So that's the idea of the compensation plan, is to empower you to be successful.
And or just to expound on that point, that's why there is compression. If someone chooses to go inactive or doesn't get qualified, clear all the way through the matrix until the very last person that's in it, it will be full and balanced. And so those positions permanently go away, and you will then be inserted at the very end when you get back to a position of being qualified or active. And so that's why it's essential that you know what's going on, you stay abreast of what's occurring in your organization, and you make sure you follow the power of 3. Active, sponsor 3, and help their 3 sponsor 3. If you do that, then you will have full benefit. So along that line, Teresa has said, so computer will keep track, and if you qualify new person, it automatically accounts for them. Yes, the Sharing Center has all you will need to know exactly where your organization is in real time, every single minute. Someone places an order, it shows up in your Sharing Center that very second. You will know at all times where you sit with your level of activity, with your auto ship, with your volume, with your orders, and your entire organization. And so you will be able to track that. If someone is in jeopardy or someone has been compressed out, the system will send an email letting you know that. But double check, double standard, make sure, in case something goes wrong with your email account or it ends up in spam by accident, which occurs all the time, just make sure that you keep apprised of what's going on. There's a couple of questions that we're going to backtrack on.
Becky, real quick, I apologize.
Oh, okay.
I plugged in my second monitor. Can you still see the animation on your screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
Sure. So we have a question, what about apartment mates? That is not the same household, even though it's the same address. Those are one of the scenarios that you just need to notify us of so that we know how to do it, because our system will kick duplicate things back, and so we'll need to know how that is set up. Question, when's the comp plan going to be in print? We are working on that right now and refining it. We've made a couple of minor adjustments. We want to include the glossary of terms and all that information throughout the comp plan. We hope to have that available to you based on our publishers prior to launching. And so at the very worst case scenario, please watch the webinar on the comp plan, and it will give you most of the information. We also have a question, if a sharing partner has died or passed away, you need to contact the office and let us know, and then we will be able to literally roll your organization up to the person who sponsored that person who has passed away, and everything will just flow right up and fill in where it needs to, and there won't be any hiccup. It'll be fairly seamless. Okay, my screen in black. Okay, Catherine has a screen challenge, but I don't think that's on our end, Catherine. So let's move on. I think we've already covered this. In fact, yes, we have. Will we be push notifications if someone drops out? We've gone into quite extensive covering on that. Are there, yes.
You're looking at that. We've received a question on the BYBB side from one of the sharing partners asking about the positioning of their personally sponsored in their matrix. If you could just visit on that for a minute and try to let them understand that it's not correlated that way.
Oh, you bet. In fact, Ori, we have a screen of that. The bottom line is the matrix is a totally different structure. Everyone company-wide is inserted into the matrix in the next open position, and they will not necessarily be underneath you in the matrix. Your organization is the unilevel. The matrix is company built. And so, Ori, go ahead and click on the next four animations of that slide. This is an illustration that shows you and the 3 people you've personally sponsored. And of course, your matrix is 3, 9, 27, 81, so forth underneath you, and your people are not anywhere in that matrix. And I like to ask this question: how would you like to have just your front line filled with just 3 people, or would you rather have this entirely filled structure? That's the power of the sharing matrix. Every single individual in the company has the option of contributing to your success, your growth, your income through the sharing matrix. And if, literally very few people would physically have the ability to build a matrix on their own to the capacity that we will if everyone is contributing to it. You do your share, you sponsor 3, and you will benefit in a very huge way. Did that cover the question?
So, Beck, do you want to just reiterate on this slide so they can see how that corresponds to each other?
Sure. So go ahead and run the animation. You can see the sharing matrix and you can see the positions that are in there. It's the same slide we just showed you. However, in the unilevel, your people will be directly under you, front line to you, and those commissions will be paid through the unilevel structure based on the volume that is there. And so you still have your people under you in your personal structure, which is the unilevel. But in the sharing matrix, they go into whatever position has opened up for them based on when they enrolled. When we initially fill this sharing matrix, everyone will be inserted into it based on your enrollment date. From there on, people are inserted as soon as they enroll or as soon as they become active and or qualified, depending on what needs to occur. And so everything is based on timestamp, so to speak. And so if someone is inserted in when we launch the program and they're not active at 140 PV through the month, their position will go away, and then the matrix will compress. It will be filled in like we showed you a few minutes ago, and then maybe the following month you decide to get active, you will be inserted in the very next position at the very end of the line, and the matrix will continue filling below you and behind you, depending on where you are, as other people come into the matrix and are enrolled or become reactivated in the same manner that you did.
Becky, if you wanted to demonstrate animation, you'll have to do it on your desktop because the presentation swaps to the active audio. So if you're speaking, then we're seeing your head.
Good.
Not Ori's screen.
I have it right here, so if we need further, we'll do it. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, sure.
Okay, any other questions here that we're missing? It looks like Claire can't see the slides when I'm talking. Okay, Ori.
Is that still the issue? Because I clicked it on default to mine. Does it still have that issue? Go ahead and say something, Becky, see if it switches the view.
I'm here. Can people see this or not? I can see it, but it might be because we're both in the admin. Daniel, you can answer that tech question.
5 seconds after you start talking, it shows your icon, like it's showing the Y now. And as soon as Ori speaks, it will show Ori's screen.
Very good. Okay.
Well, if we need to, Becky, we can always show the animation first, and then you can talk through it.
Okay. Well, I have a PowerPoint available just to open up, so we can certainly do that. If
do it side by side. Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's move on to another question, and if we need to go back to the actual visual presentation, please let us know in chat if you need to see more. Are there changes to PV amounts coming on certain products? I think we've already addressed that. All of the PV will be consistent, the same amount across the board, which obviously means some will change. and you will see those as we launch everything brand new. For other MLM experienced people, I'm sure the gym levels and such are interesting. For me, though, with 26 years in accounting work, the numbers just go in one ear and out the other and do not seem tangible, so I shut down at that point. How many people in Be Young really are in that arena even? Any focus concentration on my part would be to make the PV and MV function, so the unit level and the matrix function, and simplify it as much as possible as you are doing for people as life rewarding. So the bottom line is, as you grow your unit level and the volume that's in there, that simply moves you into those qualification periods. So if you have 5,000 PV, you become an amethyst. 10,000, you become a topaz, and you have the sponsoring qualifications as well. So it's pretty straightforward. That's all you have to do. Once that occurs, the system pays you an equal portion of 1% of the company volume for each gym pool that you're in. So we won't make it a big math problem. Just follow the power of 3, build an organization, and continue to share the program with other people, and you're going to find yourself getting a gym bonus. Straightforward. Any other questions? Here we go.
Thank you. Let's just go ahead and show this slide again for them real quick so they can see it. Pull open on my screen. Just the different levels once again for that question so they can see it. So this, and this isn't the mathematician. Your first level, your matrix, 3 people, you get 15, 9 people on the second, 27, so forth. You can see how it all correlates. So, just to reiterate that question as well, it's hard to say what that number is going to be when we initially launch. What we do know is roughly 16,000 people will be placed in the matrix. And we're going through right now, some of you may have already gotten phone calls, but we're going through right now and personally calling every person so that they are aware of the changes, they know what's happening, they know what opportunity they have at their feet. And so everyone will know whether or not they want to participate or not. It won't be taken by surprise. So, but that's kind of that's how many people are in Be Young is 16,000. How many of those will actually engage in the sharing matrix? Only time will tell, and we'll know come February. But that might help to clarify that a little more as well.
Okay, so Ori, maybe you could show the gym pool. Well, we pretty well covered that unless there's further question on it. Let's jump to the question from Linda for you, Daniel. Some of us joined BYBB because we could get our 3 but needed help getting their 3. We were told that BYBB would help, oh boy, it's hard to read, get us ISP and would help them. Their ISP gives their 3, so I understand that this is only true for the unilevel and not the community matrix. I guess that's my question.
That is your question.
Oh my goodness. BYBB will be no different than you personally sponsoring other people, and they become part of your organization. Keep in mind the unilevel and the matrix, though they are separate structures, they work in synergy. If you are qualified with 3 people from your unilevel who are active at 140 PV, you hold a position in the sharing matrix. Then you help those 3 get each 3. You're now qualified in the sharing matrix and retain that position. And that continues on for your 3. And so that's the value of BYBB. If, for example, you have 7 new enrollments come in because you have subscribed to BYBB, those simply go in your unilevel. That volume increases your commissions in the unilevel, and if the volume is 140 PV or higher, then those individuals are also in the sharing matrix, and that contributes to the whole community, but it also contributes to your qualification. Now, because there are 7, you automatically have qualified for an additional position in the sharing matrix. If you want to acquire that position, you simply bump your PV to 240 PV, because every position in the sharing matrix has to have 100 PV attached to it. And so there's tremendous value in BYBB and helping you to grow your organization. Again, reiterate, unilevel and sharing matrix work in synergy. You can do just the unilevel if you choose. You cannot do just the sharing matrix. You have to be active in the unilevel as well.
Becky, why don't you go ahead and answer Barbara's question, because it's kind of related to this conversation.
Okay. If we sponsor our 3 and they spend their 140 PV per month, we are then qualified, so we are encouraged to help them get their 3, but that will not disqualify us. If your 3 are in the sharing matrix, you're qualified. However, if they do not get their 3, they do not remain in the sharing matrix past their 2nd month, which means they need to find 3 more or help those 3 get qualified. It's a process of one step at a time, but if they get compressed out, then you don't have 3 who are qualified and active. And so it follows all the way through. That's why we encourage you to help your 3 get their 3, and then you start the process of duplication. That's what network marketing or MLM is all about, is duplicating your efforts. You don't do it for anyone. You don't create weakness. You don't give a hand out but a hand up. So if you've helped them successfully get their 3, then they know what to do to help those 3 each get their 3. And that process just continues to duplicate on down the line.
All right. Daniel, we got a question for you from Sandra. She says, if we subscribe to BYBB for, say, 100 leads with an estimated 3% return, so 3 ISPs per month, what happens to the rest of the leads? Question number 1. Question number 2 is, can we upgrade to more leads for more money at any time, or is there a wait period?
So to answer number 1, nothing happens to the 97%. They're there. They just have not opted through. So at that point, by the time they've ran the course, you'll have access to their full contact details and are able to follow up with them as you would like on your own. It's just that they've run the course of the cycle, having not converted. And then, pardon me, number 2, we do have accelerator packs that are going to be available. So at any time, you can buy an accelerated pack to bundle on another 250 or 500 prospects. But those are not going to be available until every ordered prospect has been delivered.
And then Becky, we had a question from, if I can even think here, Teresa, just a little ways down. I don't know if you saw that one.
I might not have. Let's scroll down a little bit.
So
when you buy an additional matrix for 100, where does it appear in the sharing matrix? Does it retain the same position every month? Again, to expound on that, and let me just pull up this PowerPoint real quick, and we'll take a look at the sharing matrix. Let's use this one. And so here's an image of the matrix, and let's say you take.
I'm not seeing anything on your screen.
You're not. Oh, lovely. Well, are we having fun yet or what?
Like, you want me to just do this slide on mine?
Yeah, pull up the one with the numbers on it, Ori.
I'm assuming this guy here.
Yes.
Hang on a second, let me switch the display here. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to have to, why don't you go ahead and share real quick what you're saying, and then I'll bring it back to my view so that they can see it visually.
Okay, so let's say you're in position number 2 with your first position in the matrix, and you've sponsored 6 people. You have an additional 100 PV for a total of 240, and the next open position is number 37. That's where your matrix will start. That's the first open position, and then as all the other positions fill in on that level and it begins to fill in below as other people become active, qualified, sponsor new people, then a new matrix is building underneath you. If you are not active, then that position is compressed out and you start over in the next open position.
Okay, so let me just bring it back over on my screen so everyone can see it. So what Becky was basically saying is if this is you in position 2, that's your position, it's going to start building here. If you achieve a second position and that position gets awarded here, then that's where your position will be, and it'll start building a matrix from there. The positions are just additional spots in the matrix, but it'll still fall underneath your original ID.
And they will also fill in, every position has 3 underneath it, which means each of those positions have 3 underneath them, and that's where you get a full matrix. And so as everybody is meeting the qualifications of 3 personally sponsored, active, who are in the matrix, and those 3 do the same thing, then every single position will have contributed an equal amount as well as a perfect amount, meaning it will fill as it should.
Hey, Becky, I think we're coming up on the hour mark, so why don't we start wrapping up here. But before we do that, I want to put this back onto the screen and just kind of share this one more time. This will help answer some of the questions on why we're not able to, I don't know, if you can't see it perfect, it might be a little small, that's fine. The second screen is what's really important, but if you can't see it, there should be a full screen button. Hit full screen, it'll make it so you can see it fairly easy. And
or if you could zoom in a little bit, that would be good too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do as well. But I know some people, even on the PowerPoint, were saying it was too small, so that one was fairly large. So if it's small, just try to full screen your view. So this will answer the question why we can't do the AutoShip rewards and why we aren't going to be doing the point per dollar anymore. This is a comparison of the old compensation plan to the new. I'm not going to go through every single bullet point. This is those phone calls I mentioned we're doing earlier. Everyone's going to get a phone call and everyone's going to get an email, and this is attached to it. So if you haven't had it yet, sit tight. You'll get it in a day or two when that phone call comes your way. But I want to come down to the second screen. So if you look at this test scenario, this is not someone big. This is a new independent sharing partner. They signed up 90 days ago, so three months ago. So the question is what could my earning potential potentially be in 90 days? Now, some of these pieces, they're hard to calculate because we're not really for sure how fast the matrix is going to fill. We're going off of numbers that we anticipate. But as far as the matrix goes, this person within 90 days could have very well had a full matrix, which would have been an additional $2,000. But we played a little safe and gave him a partial matrix. So you can kind of see this. So this is a rep, signed up 90 days ago, followed the power of 3. That's all they did. So he signed up 3 or she signed up 3. They got 3. They got 3. That's basically what's happened so far in the 90 days. You can see that there's a group volume at 1,200, which in our old compensation plan that would have made you an amethyst, which means you would have gotten an additional 5%. Yay! which is pennies compared to this one. But even in this one, you probably wouldn't have been an amethyst because of just how the compensation plan worked. You had to balance two legs. So you can see this rep is not a very big rep is what I'm trying to get at. It's a beginning rep that doesn't have a whole lot of volume. You can see in the old compensation plan, after 3 months of being in the compensation plan, that's the grand total that they're going to make is $84 just by doing the 3 people, sponsoring 3 people, sponsoring 3 people. They're not going to make a whole lot. You know, consecutive months after that, that number goes up considerably. But you can see in the new compensation plan, I mean, we're not talking about a couple $100 increase in payout. We're talking thousands, literally thousands. So you can see we're being a lot more generous, and therefore some of the luxuries that we had before are going away, but you're getting the benefit. I mean, I guess here's the question. Would you rather have gotten 15 reward points off of this or collected the $2,800? So you can kind of see why some of these things that we've had in the past, we're just simply not able to offer. And, you know, down below, here's another test scenario. This is a bigger rep, Sapphire ranked rep. There's a bunch of parameters, but you can see in the old comp plan, they're making decent money. They're making $4,700. Exact same scenario in the new compensation plan, they're making $7,500. So we're putting more back into your pocket and incentivizing you to be successful. I guess not necessarily incentivizing, but empowering you to be successful. If you're not successful, it's just simply because you didn't follow the system. And the system is very simple. Follow the power of 3. You follow the power of 3, there's no reason why you can't be successful in this new compensation plan. So Becky, I think unless we have a couple more questions, maybe we'll take 1 or 2 more questions, and let's go ahead and wrap up this call.
Very good. I do not see any new questions. Let's see here.
No new questions have posted for several minutes.
Right. It looks like I hadn't read them all, so I just scanned through them. It looks like we have covered everything. Keep in mind, if you still have questions we want to make sure you understand, you can certainly continue to send email to questions@beyoungth.com, and we can have someone on the staff address them directly. Beyond that, Daniel, we're going to turn it back to you.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. We did get a lot of questions answered. There was a lot of discussion back and forth. I think it was good to have this clarification on both the BYTH compensation plan and the BYBB launch and how that's going to work together, and the particulars of both of those. Sorry for the delay again in getting it started. It's not typical for us to get started late, so sorry again for that. And Ori and Becky, as always, thank you very much for your support and you know, helping everybody understand what they need to do and where they need to be to earn their own success.
Good night, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. We're ending the call now.
Yes.